to Issues with Cartoons, the comics and cartoon discussion show. My name is Kyle.
My name is Carl.
And we are nearing the end of Season 1 of Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes. We are at the penultimate episode with episode 25, The Fall of Asgard. Written, a story by Josh Fine and Chris Yost, written by Chris Yost and directed by Vinton Hieck. Carl, we're almost done with Season 1, buddy.
Unbelievable. We've recorded 25 episodes of Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes.
Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes. And you know, we're not even halfway done with the show.
I know, it's been a wild ride.
Yeah, with this episode, we are continuing the three-parter that we started last episode, which kind of was the culmination of a lot of stuff that had been happening all season. We left off with the Avengers destroying the Norn Stones to stop the Asgardian invasion, and all the Avengers disappeared, and we find out in the opening of this episode that they're all on the various 9 realms of Norse mythology. And Hawkeye's the first one we see, and he is on, I think I wrote it down. Anyway, he's on one of the 9 realms that has a bunch of elves and wolves on it.
Yeah, he just wakes up and realizes he's in a strange new land, and then he kind of walks to the cliff at one point and gazes out, and there's like a very comic booky looking scenic view with the stars
Very
and stuff.
Cosmic looking, yes.
And the cliff's just kind of sitting. There's no horizon.
Right.
It's just outer space. Yeah,
which is a cool setup. I love the premise of separating all these heroes across the various realms and giving them their own problem to deal with. It did lead to the episode jumping around a lot because you have 8 different scenes basically to jump between. But I thought it balanced it pretty well.
There's a lot of characters to jump between.
Yes.
Having the whole team separated. Do you feel like this kind of follows, just overall, do you feel like this follows kind of like a 3-act structure? It's like the first part of the 3-parter is kind of the setup. This is kind of like the downturn where the heroes fall, right?
Yeah, I'd say so, because they're all separated, right? Like, the whole thing is the Avengers work best as a team. And Zemo said in the last episode, the way to beat them is by separating them.
Yeah.
And now they're separated. And like, this is when they're the most vulnerable, is when they literally have no one else to lean on. They only have themselves. So I think that's fair.
All the bad things happen to them.
Yeah.
It's kind of dark,
Yeah, I mean, as things go, as far as things have been in this show thus far, I mean, this is the most against the ropes they've been, really, where they don't really have any support. Until it comes later. So let's just kind of go through it. So I love that we start with Loki monologuing, because
after the opening credits.
After the opening credits, yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. One thing I loved about the moment is that they don't show Thor yet, and it's just kind of like Loki's narrating, and then they show him pick up a glass of wine, and he's just like explaining. He's gloating. It's like a Dr. Evil speech,
Yeah.
It's like Loki's just gloating over his victory, but he spills his glass of wine on Thor's head to wake him up.
So disrespectful.
I thought it was funny.
Was it to wake him up? I didn't catch that. So he was monologuing to nobody.
Yeah. He's just like, all right, Thor, I need you awake for this part. Pours it on him.
That's great. Yeah, because Thor's in shackles, and Loki's just kind of toying with him the whole time. He's, like we said, being so disrespectful, but he has the Odin Force now, which is pretty crazy. It struck me, too, a lot of this plot did feel a lot like the first Thor movie, where it's just like...
It is similar.
Thor is off Earth. Loki keeps him off Earth because he's manipulated events to make it that way.
Or
and then he
waits.
Yeah, and then when Odin's sleep starts is when Loki makes his move. So
Loki steps in and replaces Odin, and that's the whole thing. That's like basically Loki's plan, right? Is he waited for this moment specifically to slip into Odin's role. I just want to point that out, that it's just like Loki is controlling Asgard. There's 9 realms. He's waiting to take over Midgard. He's conquered every other realm so far.
Yeah.
He kind of, one of parts of his monologue is kind of like he failed taking that realm because, help me out here.
Because Enchantress betrayed him.
Enchantress, yeah,
right.
failed.
She ended up not being able to seal the deal because that was last episode was supposed to be Loki conquering Midgard using the Masters of Evil, but it didn't quite pan out that way.
Cool continuity there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And yeah, anyway.
But we're cutting at this point. We're going to cut between lots of different locations, and I don't know all the 9 realms by name yet.
I wrote some of them down.
I wrote some of them down too. Jotunheim was the one I'm most familiar with, probably, and that's where Ant-Man and the Wasp are. And they're surrounded by frost giants. So the first time we see them, they're in this frozen world.
Tundra.
Yeah. And these frost giants show up. And Hank says, I'm sure you're not too interested in talking this out. And frankly, neither am I. Which is a very big shift from where we've seen Hank up to this point. Where he's been very averse to just going straight into fights, but I think he's got a lot of frustration to let out.
He's stepping into his role as a superhero more.
Yeah.
This episode than previously. He's more concerned with the lab, but this one there's some real stakes and Jan's unconscious as well. So it's like he's kind of defending his woman against all these frost giants, you know.
Well, and that's what prompted him to get involved in the fight with Abomination, right? Like the reason he kind of unloaded on Abomination was because Abomination was attacking Jan. So we cut away from Jotunheim and then we go to what we will later find out is Niflheim, and that's where Captain America is trapped.
I love this.
This is great. This reminded me a lot of the Age of Ultron scene when he was in that dream world where he's seeing all the dead Howlers and
and Scarlet Witch is manipulating all them.
Yeah, and he dances with Peggy and stuff.
It was really
And so the conceit is he's in this wasteland, this nebulous area.
It's like a purgatory.
Kind
it's
of,
like
yeah.
He's not.
It's like limbo.
He's not quite dead, but he knows he's on the cusp of death.
Yeah,
and he's kind of aware of that.
Yeah,
too.
And then he starts seeing. First he sees Dino Manelli, and then he sees kind of all of them. He sees all the Howlers. Almost all of them.
Howling Commandos reference.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which we hadn't seen them since episode 4. So it's cool to see them again. We also go to Vanaheim, where Hulk is. Isn't that in California? Where Hulk is. He's got Scourge's axe, and he sees a bunch of trolls pulling prison wagons, and that's his premise. That's his confrontation.
I like that continuity.
I love it.
Of Hulk having the axe from last episode.
And he loves that axe.
Yeah, they do a shot where he like looks at it, right?
Yeah, he looks
at it.
I'm
not imagining that.
He's like, really? Yeah, no, you're not. And he looks. He's smiling. He's happy.
Yeah.
It's like it's like your worst nightmare is giving Hulk a brutal weapon.
The Black Panther bit was incredibly vague. And it's so short, it's like 5 seconds, and it's like, I could tell they wanted to expand on it more, but there's just too much to cover in this episode. Yeah. We just had to set up that Black Panther was there, and he's getting chased by the spirit. It's like almost like you blink and you miss it.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
It ends up being pretty relevant later, like when you cut back to him later, but in that initial introduction, no, I'm not saying you're not either, but you're right. They don't linger on it very long. I don't think we even get that realm name at any point while he's there, because there's no one to play off of. There's no one for him to talk to. We also see Niveldir. Is that the name of the realm with the dwarves?
Niveldir is how I wrote it.
Niveldir.
Niveldir. A lot of made up words.
We get all words are made up. Eitri is there, and Eitri is familiar to anyone who's seen Avengers Infinity War, because that's Peter Dinklage's character.
This is the Forge.
Yeah, and that's the Forge.
Stormbreaker.
Yep.
Mjolnir.
Right.
All made in the Forge.
I am Groot. And we also get an appearance of Ulick, who I think my first Thor book I ever read had Ulick in it. I don't know anything about him other than he's the character we saw in this.
Do you remember what book it was?
It had Hercules in it.
Okay.
Do you remember this?
No, I'm just asking.
No, I wish I could
grind
remember.
your memories a little bit more.
It's in the 400s, I think.
Okay.
It might have been the Tom DeFalco Ron Friends run, actually. I'll look it up during the break.
We love Ron Friends.
Yeah, Ron Friends is great. We want to be friends with Ron Friends. But we go back and, again, talking about this is going to be kind of interesting because it is a lot of cutting back and forth.
Yeah.
But we'll just go linearly if that's okay. Hawkeye is rescued from these wolves by Faraday, who is an elf who is opposing Loki's forces. And we kind of cut between him and Faraday fighting these wolves. Mm-hmm. Hulk using this magic axe on these trolls in a very cool fight where he's like using this ice power to take out all these ogres and trolls and stuff from the axe. And then Cap is kind of being wooed into submission and surrender by these ghosts of his dead friends.
Yes, keep seeing ghosts.
And then Giant Man confronts Ymir, and the Casket of Ancient Winters comes back from episode 20, 21, something like that. And Giant Man is just about had it. He's just about on the ropes. He's about to be taken out. And then a portal opens or someone flies through, and it's Sif and the Valkyries show up to kind of like save the day.
I did like the moment where Hank kind of like turns to Jan and he says, "I love you."
Finally.
And then he charges off into battle to fight the frost giants and stuff. I thought that was a cool moment and just further cements that this is the best version of Hank in any continuity.
We never fail to say it. But it's because it's so true.
Yeah.
Their relationship is the healthiest version
it's like
of this relationship.
Yeah.
In all media, across media, it is the most healthy, normal, functional relationship these two characters have in media, including the comics.
I always liked the Valkyries too. I liked when the Valkyries showed up.
I love Sif. I always liked Lady Sif also. And they pretty much just have the straight up Lady Sif design with that red and that white headgear and everything.
It was cool.
It was cool, and they're badasses. They handled their shit great. The first kind of moment where we start having the Avengers kind of traverse the realms is when Black Panther, I guess, detects energy like a wormhole. He detects some kind of change in the energy and is able to dive into this well to get away from the ghosts. And eventually he ends up on the elf world that... is it Svartalheim? Is that where the elves are? I'm going to get it wrong. Contact at IssuesWithCartoons.bsky.social.
Are you saying where Hawkeye's at?
Yes.
Is Faraday.
Faraday's
with the elf. Okay.
Yeah. I think it's Svartalheim, but
I'm not sure. I don't have it here.
I don't either. But right after that is one of my favorite moments in the episode with the Hulk. Did you write this down?
I wrote where the Hulk yells, "Hulk is strongest there is."
Yeah.
And then he uses thunderclap.
Yeah.
Takes out the...
Because similar to, if you remember back in the Breakout episode, Graviton says, "I'm the strongest one there is." And the only thing that could happen right after that line is said is the Hulk shows up and says, "I'm the strongest one there is." And so similarly in this episode, the trolls are all piling on him, and they say he's not strong enough to take us all. We just don't say that in front of the Hulk. Don't say he's not strong enough.
The Hulk has an ego.
He has a huge ego. His whole deal is ego and id.
He's got to be strong.
So he ends up, doing thunderclaps. He ends up demolishing this whole group of trolls. And then we get the Warriors 3 showing up. Because they were Volstagg the Voluminous. And you get Hogan and Fandral in there too, but they were part of the prison wagon caravan that the trolls were carrying.
Okay. don't think I made that connection watching it.
That's the only reason I think they showed up without doing anything is I think they were in the wagon.
Yeah, so like he kind of recruits the Hulk, and then we leave the Hulk from there. He's like we could use you on our team or something like that.
Yeah,
and then
to take Asgard back. They're recruiting him to help them reclaim Asgard.
This next part though with Cap,
so good,
is my favorite part
it was
of
really
the whole
good.
episode.
It was really good.
There's a notable character I want to talk about a little bit, but Kyle, go into it. You sound excited.
Oh, I know. It's your favorite part, buddy.
Okay.
No, well, I'll just say like he's still being kind of tempted by these spirits.
And yeah, this is kind of where it all comes to a head and resolves. These spirits are bugging Cap. They're kind of like begging him to join them in death. And then Cap lets out, he's like, if this is the land of the dead, where's Bucky?
Where's Bucky, Carl? Little does he know.
But we know as the audience
from episode 21.
Yeah, that Bucky is resurrected.
There's a reason he's not there.
That's why he got resurrected with the Cosmic Cube.
I love it. I love that setup.
It's a really good setup.
It's so good because it reminds you of that seed that they planted, and it's growing. And this is just another branch.
Yeah,
another part of that.
Coming to a head. We got to see Bucky in season 2. I'm calling it right now. I don't know that we do, but I assume we do. I assume.
Carl, I wanted to ask you. I wanted to ask you if you noticed Logan in this scene.
I didn't.
Because I think Logan was in that scene,
really?
Which doesn't line up because he's alive and well as Wolverine.
It doesn't make sense.
Maybe because it was kind of silhouetted, it was sort of dark, so maybe it was a different Howler, but I thought for one shot you saw him crouching there. I wasn't sure if maybe I'll have to go back and look. Since you can't confirm it, maybe I'll have to confirm it myself.
There was Jack Fury.
Jack Fury was there. Dum Dum Dugan was there.
Yeah, Dugan I spotted.
Percy was there. But then when he kind of banishes the ghosts away and rejects them, a staircase appears, and who's sitting at the top of the staircase?
We have Hela.
Yeah, we got Cate Blanchett at the top of the staircase.
That Asgardian goddess of death.
One of the best headpiece designs in comics. Like, it's so crazy.
Really cool. And Hela first showed up in Journey into Mystery 102 in 1964, created by Jack Kirby and Stan Lee.
I'm so proud of you, because I was scrambling, because I was like, oh, wait, I didn't look up when she first appeared.
Yeah, and something notable that's different from Hela, from Thor Ragnarok in the comic book Hela, is that she's a child of Loki in the comics from an earlier age of Asgard. Whereas, like, before Ragnarok.
Thor Ragnarok, they're siblings, not
she's Thor's sister.
Not uncle and niece. I wonder...
Why was that change made?
Well, probably just for simplicity, right? Just for... They're related, and it's easier to explain she's just another sibling instead of explaining Loki had a lover who gave him a child and all that stuff.
I think thematically it would have been way more interesting in the context of
the younger film. Taking over from the older.
I do, because like Loki is a central character in Ragnarok. Like, he shows up.
Yeah.
You
could have given some time
it to where that was in there.
I agree,
but
I don't like secret siblings are always sort of a trope that.
It would have made it into Star Wars, though. Yeah, it would have made it into Return of the Jedi or something.
Little trivia for you. Nika Futterman was the voice of Hela. She was also the voice of Sif, so she's pulling double duty.
Nice.
Also worth mentioning that John DiMaggio, the great John DiMaggio, was the voice of Eitri and Dum Dum Dugan.
Crazy.
Yeah, so just worth... And actually, Volstagg was voiced by Fred Tatasciore, who is the voice of the Hulk. A lot of double duty happening on this particular episode, which is kind of interesting.
So after we get a little tease of Hela. It is kind of a tease. She's like sitting on the throne.
Yeah, we don't get a whole lot other than that.
Yeah, and then it just kind of moves on where Faraday and Hawkeye are being saved by Black Panther. Basically, Black Panther meets up with them.
Yeah, so this is what I mean when I say that this is our first traversing realms, is when Black Panther found the bridge between wherever he was to wherever Hawkeye was. Right. Yeah. You should have made that sound. We're going to take that sound bite later, and we'll use that in the break. But a really interesting fight happens with Ulick and Tony, because Tony's armor is totally decimated.
It is a cool part.
And he has no way of fighting back, so he finds a sword, which is obviously not going to be effective against Ulick. And so instead of trying to stab Ulick with it, he stabs his arc reactor, pries it open, and then just fully unloads a unibeam to fry Ulick.
It's a cool scene. I like the aftermath of it, because it's like there is consequences to this.
There is consequence, yeah.
Like Tony's on the ground, and he has to like help him fix the arc reactor in his chest and stuff. It's one of the few moments where like I guess the arc reactor is a focus in the episode, because it gets overshadowed a lot.
All the time in this show, it really doesn't play a big role up until now. I think maybe there was one or two times where like Thor, I think, has to hit him with lightning to recharge him or something like that. But I guess at that point, Eitri leads him to the forge, and Tony asks, "Have you ever made a suit of armor before?" And
cool tease.
Great tease.
I'm excited to see where that goes.
And then we cut back, and Loki basically gives one more monologue.
Yeah, one more evil monologue.
To just basically say, like, you can't stop what's coming.
And Loki,
but we did skip over a big reveal, though, that Loki confesses.
Yeah. There's a lot of setup. Are you talking about like the beginning of the episode where Loki explains how he faked his first defeat?
Yeah, I don't know if it was at the first monologue, but at some point he basically admits that he was behind literally everything that's happened. So
it's that opening one.
He released Graviton. He's the one who manipulated things so Thor would be banished. He's the one who got Enchantress to ally herself with the Masters of Evil. He's the one who kept Thor out of Asgard.
Yeah.
All Loki. And I want to bring this up, Carl, because at the beginning of our coverage of this show, we had talked about how Enchantress sort of replaced Loki's role as like the manipulator, and how we kind of eschewed the Loki role of the origin and gave it to Graviton to bring everyone together.
Yeah.
And I think what I like is that this show took the breakout storyline from New Avengers. It took some of the Ultimate stuff. It even took a little bit of the MCU stuff. And it managed to swirl it all in and give Loki that original manipulator role that he had in Avengers 1, but it blew it up on a season-wide scale.
Yeah.
Which I think it was an interesting way to kind of marry all these different origins of the Avengers and still maintain some fidelity to what had come before. So I liked that.
Goes back to Loki's first appearance, by like what came before, Avengers #1.
Right,
which we
like
covered.
the original Avengers #1.
The original Avengers, they face Loki in battle. And I don't know, it is kind of a retcon. I guess it was planned, obviously.
Yeah.
But I kind of don't like that I feel that Loki's first defeat, like in saying that I was meant to be casted out and I wanted to go there, was like a little contrived, but it fits in with super villainy, I guess.
But I think they sort of tipped their hat to that, though, in that, if you remember, this has been a while since we recorded this episode.
Is there a reference in the episode?
So in the episode that we're talking about, it was episode 2, it was Thor the Mighty. And in it, you get 3 acts of the actual events, and then in the 4th act, it's all a flashback told from Loki's perspective.
Okay.
Kind of alluding to the fact that he's exactly where he wants to be.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And then, we get that shadowy figure from the Masters of Evil episode that was Loki.
That is Loki, yeah.
And then we get references kind of seasoned throughout. I will agree with you, though, I think, to an extent. I think what you're saying is that they had this big reveal, but they didn't do enough to maybe hint at some manipulation going on behind the scenes.
Yeah, I would have liked
to where it
something...
almost felt like it came out of nowhere.
I think it would have been cool if they had like Loki's eyes in the sky. Or something like in
or
one of
some kind of indication, a
little bit more.
Any kind of indication that he was involved in waking Graviton up, because they kind of offhandedly might even say in the episode like we don't know what woke him up, or he just woke up. But there's really nothing beyond that, and I think maybe there should have been something maybe a little more explicit.
Maybe with MODOK or with Hydra, maybe he had his hands in there. You could do that and not disrupt continuity, respecting the comics. I guess.
Yeah, and we're sort of Monday morning quarterbacking, but like if I could do a little fanfic here, like it would have been interesting if the reason AIM was able to get the Cosmic Cube working was because Loki made it work. Like that would have been interesting, and then he would have been involved in all kinds of problems that the Avengers had to deal with this season.
It's fine though for what it is. It's a very minor nitpick.
Sure.
Me pointing out the first, and it's not even valid really.
That's
like
okay.
The second one, because
we celebrate.
It's been a while.
We celebrate this show a lot. We don't have a whole lot of criticisms for this show. Before we go for the break, I want to ask you. We're almost to the end of season 1. Do you have any predictions for the finale?
Yeah, predictions for the finale. I'm just expecting the Avengers to save the day. I'm expecting maybe a Winter Soldier tease. There's going to be something where the team all comes together, obviously. Maybe Iron Man gets his Asgardian suit of armor and fights Loki directly.
Great. That'd be cool.
I think that would be cool. Trying to think what else I'd want to happen. Put me on the spot here.
That's what makes this great.
Yeah.
We get to wait for you to answer. It's all right. I think those are good.
Yeah,
I think those are great. Well, and honestly, without having a backlog of Avengers knowledge that I have, like there's not many other directions you can go other than the team all gets together and fights Loki. Like that's where this is all headed.
Like maybe definitely some new characters teased. Like I'm expecting a Winter Soldier appearance at some point. Maybe a new Avenger shows up. That could be cool. We'll see.
And we will see when we record that episode for next week.
That's right.
Let's go to break because we have a lot of comics to talk about.
That's right. More than a few. All right.
Comics.
Hello, welcome back to our comics section, and today we'll be talking about quite a few things from Acts of Vengeance.
A lot of things.
These are some early, 1989?
1989 to 1990, I think is where we're sitting.
Yeah, so these are like some prime 90s Marvel comics.
Yeah, like we're like,
really.
It's kind of like the calm before the Image boom. Right? Like, this is kind of
really
right before Jim Lee on X-Men, right before Todd McFarlane on Spider-Man, right before Liefeld on X-Force and the New Mutants and stuff. Like, this is right before all that happened. This is kind of like the end of an era for Marvel that we're reading here. And I guess what I want to say at the very top, because I feel like we were pretty critical of Acts of Vengeance as a crossover event in our last episode.
I think we're being critical of crossovers overall.
Yeah.
I don't, like, it sounds like we're coming down on Acts of Vengeance, but...
Just the notion of crossovers, you're right.
Yeah.
I want to say that after reading this selection that we have today, I am much more positive about the event and kind of the merits of deciding to do a crossover.
100%. I had a complete turnaround. I read these 3 and I was like, these are all really strong.
To the point where we started with 3 and we ended up with 5 to talk about today.
And back to your point of like, this is before 90s Image takes over. Is this like the last time like the spotlight's really on John Byrne at Marvel? Because it's like John Byrne writes and draws a lot of these.
Great point. I think you're right. I think you're right, and
He gets overshadowed later on.
It's really well, and you can say that about Claremont. You can say that about all the guys from Tom DeFalco.
And Chris Claremont getting kicked off of X-Men for a 7-issue Jim Lee run.
Well, and help me out here. I don't remember, and maybe you don't either. But Tom DeFalco became editor-in-chief at some point before this, and then he's the editor-in-chief for Acts of Vengeance. I don't think he lasts much longer as editor-in-chief. And I don't know when Bob Harris gets that job. But I know this is kind of part of like a big kind of tumultuous time with that desk in the offices, because I feel like a lot of people kind of shift into that role while there's a lot happening behind the scenes on the business end. And I think with that came kind of some tumultuousness that was saved by Jim Lee and Rob Liefeld and Todd McFarlane and Mark Silvestri and Eric Larson and the like. And I don't know. I would love to learn, maybe before we record next, I'll do a little more investigating, because it is interesting, because like you said, Claremont gets kicked out, John Byrne gets kicked out. Mark Grunwald's run on Captain America lasts, I think, 3 more years after this.
This is like right before like Toy Biz bought them, right?
I think you're right.
This is like before it becomes trading cards and holographic covers. And
those superhero trading cards were like 1990, 1991. This is literally right before all that. Yeah. Crazy
absolutely
time.
Wild.
So in that respect, it is an interesting kind of capsule of the very specific era in Marvel continuity and in Marvel as a company, their history. But we're kind of getting ahead of ourselves. So the books we're going to talk about today, we're talking about Avengers 312, Avengers West Coast 54, Captain America number 366, and then we're going to talk about Thor 411 and 412.
Yeah.
So let's start with Avengers.
Yeah, Avengers 312. This is a cool cover, and honestly, I think I picked this up at some point just because it had Freedom Force on the cover.
All right, tell the people who Freedom Force is.
Okay, so Freedom Force is essentially the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, Mystique's version, so Brotherhood of Evil Mutants 2, and they're hired by the government to work as a superhero team, and they first showed up in X-Men 199 before the trial of Magneto. They were essentially hired to go after Magneto, capture him.
Help me out. Is this the same Brotherhood lineup? Because in the cartoon it was this lineup. Is this the same Brotherhood lineup from Days of Future Past?
Yes.
Okay.
That's it. Yeah. So it's, let me break it down. So it's Pyro, it's Destiny, it's Avalanche, it's Blob. You know, those are the core members.
Led by Mystique.
Yeah.
And in this book, at this point, Mystique is gone because I think Destiny had just died and she's mourning Destiny's loss. That's what I picked up from the kind of dialogue between Pyro and Avalanche and Blob.
Yeah.
It's because they decided to break away. So, again, just for context for our listeners, so you said they end up trying to become superheroes. Explain, because you were telling me off air, explain the premise behind that. What was Mystique's pitch?
Mystique basically like walks into, I want to say it's almost like an Oval Office type thing, and she proposes.
Was the Commission of Superhuman Activities with like Val Cooper, like that group? Because that's who because they show up in Captain America comics. I'll interject. I know I asked you a question. Now I'm immediately interrupting you. But around this time, John Walker becomes Captain America. Mm-hmm. And he's involved with the Commission of Superhuman Activities. They're the ones who
you say it's Lauren Cooper?
Val Cooper.
Val Cooper.
And Val Cooper, you listeners may know from X-Men 97. She was the blonde.
I believe it's that character.
Okay, so she's the one who... Character. Okay, so it's the Commission. So Mystique walks into the Commission and says what?
And she's basically like, hey, you guys have redeemed Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch. Why don't you give me a chance and give me immunity? If you grant me immunity, I'll grant you access to my Brotherhood of Mutants. And she did say we're trying to do away with the term evil. And it's in quotes and
rebranding.
Yeah, so they basically, she comes up with this pitch to rebrand the Brotherhood of Mutants as Freedom Force, which is I've always liked in the comics because it's like it's a really interesting place to take that team.
Yeah.
You know, and it puts them at odds with the X-Men are kind of outlaws and their villains are working for the government. You know, it's a great premise. Claremont's really creative.
Well, and I like it too because it is another example of Claremont advancing character arcs.
He's great at that.
He's not like other writers who come in and do an arc or two and then leave. He wants to bring these characters to a new place and give them an actual like literary arc where they start at one place and end at another, where it's not the illusion of change, it's substantial change, because he talks about like that revolving door of characters where you close a loop and then open new loops for new characters, and that's how serial storytelling should work. And I think this is a great example of that.
Yeah, he eventually wanted, Cyclops to end off married, with Madeline Pryor, and kind of married other X-Men would step in into Scott's role. Who knows what could have happened with Freedom Force had Claremont stayed on the book. There's a really cool shot. I'm going to spoil the end of X-Men Evolution. But there's a cool shot at the end of X-Men Evolution where it's kind of like implied that the Brotherhood of Mutants from that show becomes Freedom Force.
Oh, very cool. I have not finished Evolution yet, but...
Oh, I spoiled.
No, it's okay. That's okay. I love that tease, though, because it is a cool direction to take them. I've never liked the Brotherhood of, quote, evil, quote, unquote, mutants. Mm-hmm. Never liked that. I like the Brotherhood of Mutants or just the Brotherhood better. So...
It's more subjective.
Yeah.
That way.
So making them kind of this... It's honestly very anti-Magneto of them to, like, be this kind of anti-authoritarian organization, this pro-mutant, like, mutant First Nation, like, mutant nationalists is what they basically are.
Yeah.
And then to take them and become subordinate to the American government is such a turn.
And it's an ironic turn because it's like the villains are showing the world that mutants can be positive, not the heroes. The heroes are still being hunted.
Right.
And at this point in the book, too, you bring up Magneto. It's like Magneto is full on, like, turning into an X-Man. I think he's becoming, like, headmaster of the New Mutants. Okay. When Freedom Force shows up, it's very much like that first episode of X-Men 97.
Oh, yeah.
You bring that up where it's like, Magneto's becoming a good guy.
I'm glad you're giving me that context because that will play into our discussion today because Magneto does show up and plays a role.
Oh yeah.
In a lot of the comic that we're gonna cover.
Okay, let's get into it.
So yeah, so you said you probably had this comic, so that's very cool information to have. So, this is John Byrne writing with Paul Ryan and Tom Palmer on art duties, and in the last issue, Quasar failed to save the Hydro base from sinking.
Yeah,
and so they are now in the sub basement under Avengers Park, which presumably, I have not read much of Avengers from this era, so I'm assuming Avengers Park is where Avengers Mansion used to be. But they are in the sub-basement. We got Wasp, Falcon, White Vision, Scarlet Witch, Dr. Pym. Most of these are West Coast Avengers, but they're all hanging out in the sub-basement and are basically just kind of reviewing the events that are happening where all these supervillains are coming out of the woodwork to fight superheroes they wouldn't normally fight.
It's a cool splash page too. They tease Thor and Iron Man on the television.
Yeah, you see them in the back. Yeah, and it's good continuity because you see Thor fighting Juggernaut. I'm assuming Iron Man fights the Wrecking Crew in his book. Mm-hmm. So yeah, really good cross promotion there.
Yeah.
And you're cutting away between that and then this mysterious stranger who is kind of the orchestrator behind this whole event.
Hold on. Tom DeFalco's listed as an Asgardian in the credits.
Oh!
So what did Tom DeFalco do?
Tom, settle down, man. Little big for your britches there, buddy.
There's some big names that worked on this book, like Howard Mackey.
Howard Mackey was a very notable editor.
Yeah, he would later go on to write Spider-Man too.
Well, yeah, and to that wit, Tom DeFalco was a rare example of an editor-in-chief who also had writing chores on. We're going to read his Thor run, but I think he also took at least one of the Spider books at the time.
It's crazy how much talent.
Yeah, and I mentioned like Tom Palmer. Tom Palmer was the inker on George Perez's art during the Busick run. Like he has a long career with Avengers, and then Paul Ryan drew the issues of Mark Grunwald's Squadron Supreme miniseries or maxi series. I didn't know that. And then John Byrne is John Byrne.
Everyone knows John Byrne.
Yeah. But this mysterious stranger walks into this room, and we have the Mandarin, the Kingpin, Doctor Doom, Magneto, the Red Skull, and then Bentley Whitman, the Wizard, is also there. What a coup to get in that room for the Wizard. I mean, I'm not saying that he's not a formidable threat, but like he's sitting across the table from the Red Skull. That's pretty impressive pedigree for him to be.
To give the Wizard some credit, he did put together the Frightful Four.
That's true. Just
to give him a little bit of props. But yeah, he doesn't deserve to be there with Doom, who has his own country, and
look at Doom.
Magneto, who's like one of the most prolific Marvel villains of all time. Same with Kingpin. I would put Kingpin and Magneto as like two of the best Marvel villains. Also their performances by their respective
their adaptations are some of the strongest adaptations.
Yeah, because they're the most developed.
Yeah. I'd say those first 5 names I mentioned, you almost can't get bigger as supervillains go.
In this universe.
I mean, there aren't many others you could name that would belong at that table who aren't there. At least Earthbound, I'll say. Earthbound heroes.
What about Apocalypse?
Where is Apocalypse? Wait, there's an idea. Yeah, Apocalypse should be there. You're right.
Apocalypse could be there. Apocalypse is hard to recruit because he's just so insane. And he's too busy doing God things to mess with these
mortals. These mortals.
Yeah.
I like that as a pull, though. Apocalypse is kind of the name missing. Mm-hmm. These guys all have such huge egos and hate each other.
I love it.
The whole thing is, it's what makes this honestly a great issue. It's just this argument.
It's fun.
It's a 3-page argument between supervillains about why they don't want to work with each other. And my absolute favorite.
What's your favorite quote? What do you got?
Well, it's not even a favorite quote. My favorite conflict is the Red Skull and Magneto. Because, of course, Magneto just hates the Red Skull.
It makes sense. He's a Nazi.
Makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
And some great... Honestly, the most overtly racist, despicable Red Skull dialogue I've read is in this issue, where he's calling people mongrels, and he says that he calls Magneto a mutant mongrel who should be boiled into soap. Horrific dialogue, like absolutely chilling, like unsettling dialogue for someone to say. But like he talks about the master race. He talks about I don't know. It's just so overt to me compared to some of the ways that Red Skull is usually a mustache twirling villain, and in this he's a Nazi hanging out with a Holocaust survivor, and it's very
nasty.
wild.
It gets nasty for a little bit.
Very nasty. But yeah, they're about to fight too, which is great.
I like Kingpin tells Wizard to shut up, essentially.
Yeah.
He's like, spare us your bravado, Wizard. Like,
I love that.
You're not good enough to be in this room with the big boys.
Yeah,
like go out to the kids' table, Wizard.
That's really, really good.
And he's smoking a stogie when he says it too. He's like, calm down, my good dad.
Kingpin has another favorite line of mine. I love that you bring him up because Red Skull says that he's languishing with the company of common criminals, and when they get to Kingpin, he says there have never been any criminal charges they can stick on the Kingpin. Like he's it's so perfect where he's even amongst supervillains. He's like, listen, no one could prove anything.
Yeah,
I'm just an honest businessman.
He's in a room with like Magneto, who's tried to conquer the world several times, and Doctor Doom.
Hanging out with a man named Doctor Doom.
Yeah.
And to say nothing of he's responding to a Nazi
I'm not
criminal.
Implicated.
It's all hearsay.
Yeah.
It's all circumstantial.
It's crazy.
Absolutely
wild.
But basically the mysterious stranger is kind of quelling them and just getting them to like behave themselves until they can act out their plan, and then they can go their separate ways.
So, like, then we jump to Freedom Force kind of arriving.
Yeah.
And they're on the ground here, and they just decide to break these Avenger statues.
Yeah.
Which is what the cover is.
Yeah.
I do want to say I really like this Avalanche costume.
Yeah, I didn't recognize him until, it looks like Rom Space Knight, honestly, more than the Avalanche I'm used to seeing.
I didn't either, and it's very underrated, and I wish they would use it more, honestly, because I think it's a cool take on Avalanche's costume. And yeah, I didn't recognize him at first either. He's hanging out with Pyro. I should have known better.
Yeah, that's what clues you in is when you see the rest of the lineup. But what I gathered from this is that this is actually not part of the supervillain team up's plan, right? Like they just happen to stumble upon Avengers Park.
Yeah,
like they're not.
And
being,
they're like, let's break it.
Yeah, they're not being. It's not coordinated with the rest of the Acts of Vengeance stuff. It just so happens that they're
just goons. Like
just goons,
Blob,
yeah.
Blob and Pyro and Avalanche in the comics are irredeemable.
Yeah.
Like Avalanche in X-Men Evolution, which I mentioned earlier, is very likable. He even becomes an X-Man at one point, but the version here, Avalanche in the comics, is very much like Sandman.
Yeah.
Where he's just a dumb thug. He just wants to go wreck
just
stuff.
destroys cars just to destroy them.
Yeah, and that's how they are. And I'm not even sure Blob's ever been redeemed. Like Blob is consistently a villain, and Blob first appeared in X-Men number 3.
Louder for the mic. X-Men number what?
X-Men number 3.
That's early.
Yeah.
That's very early.
He's like an early Marvel.
Pyro and Avalanche were much later, right? They were.
Oh yeah.
They were like Claremont.
Yeah.
Right. That's kind of cool that like Blob held out.
Yeah, Blob held out. Toad.
Yeah, sure. Not many more after that.
Like later, none of the
Unis the Untouchable didn't make it.
None of the Neil Adams characters really.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Anyway. X-Men classic.
X-Men.
So Vision's gonna go say hello, and just be like, "Hey, what are you doing here?"
Yeah, like what are you doing in my park?
Yeah, he pops his head out of the ground. And then the Blob, and I didn't know this about the Blob's power set. I just assumed that the Blob's power set was he's just large and unmovable and like strong. I didn't know that he could actually affect his density like they portray here. Because the way it's portrayed here is he can shift his density up and down, much like the Vision can, and causes problems for the Vision, which is a power set that I was unfamiliar with. But it does make him a natural enemy for the Vision. I thought that was a very cool element that I wasn't familiar with.
Yeah, you can't. He's kind of like Juggernaut. He's like immovable.
And
once
those
he
two
decides on where he's going.
Those two are often pitted against each other as like that unstoppable force meets the immovable object.
Sure thing, Spooky. How's this? His style, like Blob even talks like a thug.
Yeah, he's like a carny thug. Yeah,
It's uneducated.
So obviously the Vision's being handled by the Blob, and that freaks Wanda out. So they all decide to go up there and join in on the fight.
I love the way that Byrne portrays the powers here, or the artist portrays the powers here.
Yeah, Paul Ryan. Yeah,
I love.
I'm looking
Byrne
at
just
that.
Wrote this.
I'm looking at the panel. Are you looking at the one I am where Avalanche kind of pushes up that wave of rock?
That's great.
To knock Falcon down.
And he spots that black there, but that in the background to kind of give it some depth. It's really simple. It's like a simple drawing, but it's really effective in showing the ground breaking and moving.
Yeah, it is. It is really good. That's a good call out.
Simplified it really well. It's an example of shape language being used on an object.
Thank you, Professor. That was great. I like this fight too because Pyro just looks like a maniac.
Oh yeah. Even that panel too, like the one right below it with his fire going everywhere. Yeah. I always love when artists draw Pyro's flame power and they have it turn into animals. It happens quite a bit. Like Pyro's flames will turn into like I don't know, like a bear or horses or something. I always thought that was cool.
Yeah.
Anyway,
kind of Green Lantern-fying his flame powers.
That's a good point. Good comparison.
Well, thanks. So most of this issue is just a big fight, and it's really, really good.
It's a good fight though. Like it's illustrated well.
The part that freaked me out was when Vision phases through the blob, which is like his go-to move. Vision phases into your chest and like messes with your heart, and then you pass out.
Yeah.
But this time he phases, and then Blob calls him Spooky again, which makes me very uncomfortable. But Blob traps the Vision's arm in his body.
Yeah.
Because he has phasing powers too, I guess, and swings his chest around with Vision attached, hurling him into statues.
His Vision gets his butt kicked
in this issue, which is unusual for
really
the Vision.
Bad.
Yeah,
he's usually the invulnerable character.
Yeah, he's usually the heavy.
Yeah.
But the Blob is heavier.
One thing I like too about this fight, is like Scarlet Witch being involved, because like Scarlet Witch is a former Brotherhood of Mutant member, and here she is battling the Brotherhood of Mutants.
I wanted to bring
Freedom Force.
I wanted to bring this up because when they
Right.
go up the elevator,
Okay.
this is a few pages back,
Sure.
but they're talking about Freedom Force. It's on page 10 of your digital reader.
Okay.
So in the panel when they're going up the elevator, Falcon says, "What do we know about Freedom Force?" And Dr. Pym says, "Not as much as we should. They started out as foes of the X-Men. If they weren't dead, I might call them up for a rundown on these creeps." And he's saying that while he's helping Wanda Maximoff onto the elevator. And I wanted to ask you,
Okay.
has Wanda had any dealings, to your knowledge in X-Men lore, with this version of the Brotherhood? Because she's a founding Brotherhood member. Would she have had any run-ins with this version of the Brotherhood? Because
I don't
she's
think
right
so.
there.
I don't think so until
interesting.
this. I could.
You
I
almost
could
think
be wrong.
You almost
I
think
could
they
be
should have played that
very
up a
wrong.
little more, like that
Oh,
dynamic.
that could have been dramatic for sure. Yeah,
like the legacy of her father is this government stooge
And
group that's corrupted.
I will say, just to add some context to all this, that Magneto at this point is a hero, and he's like kind of redeemed. He's kind of out of the Brotherhood of Mutants.
Even though we see him with all the other supervillains, he's kind of on a different trajectory.
Yeah,
from your Doctor Dooms and your Kingpins and your Mandarins and your Red Skulls.
He still has that duality to him. Like, Jim Lee hasn't turned him, reverted him back completely to being a villain yet.
I'm shaking my head.
None of that's happened yet. So it's like, yeah, he still has that depth that we got from like Ian McKellen's Magneto, where it's like we don't know if he's good or if he's bad.
This is a different podcast, but real quick, the audacity, Jim Lee. All right, so a weird kind of cutaway. We talked about the Nebula stuff last issue that didn't really make a whole lot of sense, and again,
here it is,
doesn't make a lot of sense here for us either because we're not reading. But this is the B plot that John Byrne is seeding in the background. He's building up to some story arc involving Nebula. I actually think I read the issue as a kid. I think I read the issue that this builds toward.
This did nothing for me when I read it,
I
though.
frankly,
like I was kind of
totally transparent here. I didn't read it. I didn't read the dialogue.
Of course, I'm more into the Freedom Force versus
like,
Avengers fight.
I was like, who's this old person? And then Nebula. I was like, oh, never mind. I don't care.
Yeah. I'm much more interested in.
And she wants a compressor unit. How is that? How is like B plots that you're building or C plots that you're building in the background are supposed to get you like interested in the when it becomes an A plot, you want to be like, oh, finally, I'm going to find out what all this is. Like, why? What is this? Gives me nothing. Anyway.
Yeah, that's how I felt about it. I'm like, oh, it's Nebula. Oh, okay.
I want to talk your point about how they portray powers. Look at the panel at the top of your digital reader, page 17. That panel with Falcon and Avalanche ripping up his wings. How gnarly!
We did skip.
Oh, did I skip a moment?
We did skip.
Oh, the moment.
Hank Pym.
Oh yeah,
dispatches Blob, which is really cool.
This is so cool. Tell the people.
Which is really cool. So basically, Hank Pym uses some of his Pym particles and like shrinks the Blob down into the earth. I just love the way it's drawn. Honestly, it's so cool, and
it is great.
Blob gets like sucked down to the middle of the earth, and at his reduced side, his density is greater. And so he may plummet to the center of the earth before gravity stops him.
It's so
Blob
crazy.
just gets sucked down into the earth from Hank Pym. I thought it was a great moment.
I want to know how they come back from this. Like, how do they write the Blob back into things? Because
I thought the same thing.
That's pretty finite. That's pretty definitive.
What, Blob's gonna fly the center of the earth? I want that story. I want Blob fighting the Mole Man trying to get back to Earth.
Oh, cut this part out. We need to make that mini comic. That's so great. Real quick, I should have mentioned this at the top, but Hank Pym at this point, this is years after the slap as Yellow Jacket, right? So he's.
Okay.
I bring this up.
About that.
I bring this up. This will make sense. So he was a superhero. He was Yellow Jacket. He slaps Jan. He is fired from the Avengers, and he basically quits superheroes. The West Coast Avengers, he comes back as a science hero. Like, he's just Dr. Hank Pym. Like, he's not going to be a costume crime fighter anymore. He still wants to, serve and be, like, responsible and, like, use his powers for good and stuff. And he's trying to redeem himself, but, like, he's trying to leave that part behind. So that's why he's wearing this red jumpsuit and why he uses Pym particles as kind of weapons instead of being giant.
That's the context of, like, why he's not costumed.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's cool to have that.
Yeah. All right. Maybe just for the sake of time, we can kind of speed run through this, but no, there's more to talk about. Tell me.
We gotta talk about how Avalanche destroys the Vision completely.
Oh, that was gnarly. Look at that panel.
So
that is a gnarly body horror panel.
That's why I like this part, because it's like Avalanche is reaching out and he's like, I can sense beyond the metal there's still some, or beyond your biological parts, that there's still something metal in there I can break with my my power.
So his power only works on non-organic stuff.
Yes.
Okay, obviously. That makes sense.
He just destroys the Vision's body.
Yeah.
Which was crazy, because like you mentioned, Vision's normally undefeatable, but then he
is brutalized in this whole issue.
You just have like I'm just gonna call him like a B-side X-Men villain.
Yeah.
Kind of defeating the Vision was kind of crazy.
And we're coming off of the Avengers West Coast storyline where he was dismantled and rebuilt as White Vision, and emotionally he's been kind of dismantled. Like, he's no longer the Vision that we knew. And I think it's interesting that here we're seeing kind of physically he's also not the Vision that we knew, where he's not as formidable. He's not as much of a powerhouse. Very, very interesting. Man, that face of Wanda being pissed off, that's a good face.
Yeah, and Avalanche is kind of taunting her after he does it. And he's like, why can't you use your hex powers to fix him? And she's just like, get off me, I gotta help my husband. And she gets on her knees and stuff, and the crowd's like making fun of her. They're like, this Avenger rather be fighting on the side of those muties.
Yeah.
And stuff, which was like heavy too, I thought. Yeah. Because she is a mutant. Right. And the public doesn't realize that, though. So, I guess.
Yeah, it was an interesting way of including kind of the bystanders as part of like the storyline. I like that whenever they can incorporate regular people into sort of the narrative like that, where you kind of see how it's affecting the world around them. So the supervillain Cabal is kind of watching from the sidelines, and as the fight sort of ratchets up and the cops show up, Captain America shows up, and he drops the bombshell that these guys are no longer officially working with the U.S. government. They're actually free agents now. And so they've just been coming in to stir up trouble. And that's when the crowd turns on Freedom Force. And so Freedom Force decides it's time to get out of Dodge. And that's when Pyro and Avalanche make their great escape.
Yeah. Avalanche throws up a bunch of rocks and stuff. I think this is after the Wasp severs Pyro's cable to his suit.
That was good.
Pyro can only control the fire. Pyro can't create the fire. So when Pyro wears the jetpack or the flamethrowers, like, he's just using that to manipulate the fire.
Right. It's like, it's just a lighter. It's just a way for him to get to where he can actually be effective.
Anyone that's seen X2 knows this.
Yes, true. True. I did know that. I have seen X2. He's great in that. Aaron Stanford. All right. Anything else you want to say about this issue?
Not this one. We got to move on.
We got to get going. All right.
We got to get going.
We have comics to read. Let's talk about.
Sorry, I really like the Freedom Force.
No, it's okay. Honestly, let's go to Captain America 366 next. This is following the Namor story where the controller took over Namor's mind. Now we'll talk about this because it's honestly going to go pretty quickly. My main takeaway from this, first of all, they're having trouble figuring out how to get the node off of Namor's neck without basically destroying his brain. Mm-hmm. So the mission now becomes we have to find the controller to get him to fix it. And we cut away to the room where all the supervillains are hanging out. And the notable moment for me here is when they're all leaving, Magneto turns to the mysterious stranger and says, "Is that the original Red Skull?" Or, because I heard that one died.
Yeah.
And the stranger says, "As far as I know, he is." And Magneto just goes, Again, we're starting to move some chess pieces around. And it's the main reason why I wanted us to read the Captain America portion of Acts of Vengeance, because something is coming. Red Skull walks into his office. Crossbones is there, and he tells Crossbones, "You gotta go find the controller." And we cut to the controller is in Queens watching. What's he watching, Carl?
He's watching Thor battling out with the Juggernaut.
And this is where I want to real quick do a little tangent about crossovers, because we ripped on crossovers a little bit last episode. But this worked on us because Carl texted me, and originally we were going to read Avengers, Captain America, and Avengers West Coast. And he said, "Hey, I kind of want to read that Thor Juggernaut."
That's exactly how I wrote the text, too.
And I said, "Let's read it." And we loved it, so we're going to talk about it on this podcast. So the system worked. The marketing worked.
They got me.
They got you.
They got me.
And honestly, it got me too, and it worked, and I'm glad I read it. So
it only works because this panel's so well drawn.
It's hard. It's a good...
It's a really good
worth noting, I'll go back to the credits. Mark Grunwald writing, Ron Lim, different Ron than we're going to talk about later. Ron Lim on pencils. The controller is there, and while the controller is there, Crossbones shows up, and I love this panel where Crossbones and Controller are both in trench coats and fedoras, but they have their superhero masks on, or their supervillain masks on under it. I think I love it. It's delicious.
They stole it from the Thing.
So, Crossbones says, "Here, give me that controlling node. I'll mind control Thor, and I'll shoot him with it." And he shoots him with it and misses, and it just pings off of Juggernaut's helmet. So it's completely
wasted time.
But a different character, the Voice, shows up, who's got some mind control powers of his own. He tells the controller to follow Crossbones. Again, we're kind of speed running through this one. Captain America ends up breaking onto the ship that Crossbones is transporting Controller with.
He's on his little jet bike.
Yeah, they fight. There's this famous panel where Captain America throws his shield at Controller on page 12, and the sound effect is wank. I have seen that sound effect, that panel, in a lot of comic book memes. It's very funny. But they end up free falling, and he ends up fighting in Central Park, but I think he gets zoomed back up.
One thing I gotta talk about with the art in this comic,
tell me,
when I was reading this, was this is he is aping Todd's style a little bit, and this a lot of the way it's drawn looks like Todd McFarlane.
Would this been around the time of Venom?
Todd McFarlane was
on Amazing Spider-Man at this point.
I don't know if he was, but he was in the industry, certainly.
Interesting.
And I thought a lot of this wouldn't exist without Todd.
Ron Lim, I know Ron Lim from two things. He did a lot of Silver Surfer.
Okay.
I think with Ron Mars. And then he also did the second half of Infinity Gauntlet. He's the one who took over from George Perez on Infinity Gauntlet. So that's where I know his art. A couple panels of Diamondback. I love Diamondback.
What'd you think of this little small scene with Diamondback? Where she thinks about breaking the store window.
She is I love her character because she's really trying to be better. And she's being better because she respects and loves Captain America, and she's trying to, earn his respect. So she has these impulses to be bad, to be evil.
Mm-hmm.
But in that kind of mid 2000s Catwoman way, where she's trying to like earn the respect and love of Batman, like Diamondback kind of did it first, where she's just like trying to be a better person. So she has this impulse to like, she knows she could, she knows she's capable of doing bad things.
She's fighting with herself.
But she's fighting herself because she knows Cap won't love her and respect her the way that she wants him to. I really like her character. I always have.
I never heard about this character until this.
Mark Grunwald Captain America run. Heavily featured. To the point where she's, I don't know if she's on this issue, but she's in the corner box. So there's this scene where Red Skull is going to use the controller to manipulate the mysterious stranger. And so he basically tricks the mysterious stranger into walking into his office.
This part's wild.
And he's going to plant the mind control device on the back of the mysterious stranger's neck. And he does, and it doesn't work. And the issue, and worth remembering, the last issue when Mysterious Stranger meets the Red Skull, the Red Skull is throughout the whole first meeting trying to trap or defeat or subdue the Mysterious Stranger. Nothing works. And this time he's like, oh, I got him. I want to use the controller. And that doesn't work. And so the Red Skull is very frustrated. And he's definitely got...
Look at that extreme close-up. Wally Wood would be proud.
He would. Look at that Cheshire Cat grin that is in that third to last panel.
I don't know who Mysterious Stranger is. I had to guess that it's Mephisto. Like, I don't know who this is. I haven't read enough of Avengers to know.
Could be Mephisto.
Are we finding out next week?
Yeah, we'll find out next week.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I'm a little relieved now.
Yeah, we'll find out.
So I go get my pull list next week?
Yeah, you can. Don't you spoil yourself. But did you read the backup with the King Cobra and Mr. Hyde?
I skipped that.
I did too. All right,
I'm not even kidding.
It's not worth it.
I saw it was Mr. Hyde and I was like, I'm out.
They fight. There you go. There's our coverage. All right, so let's talk about...
West Coast Avengers 54.
West Coast Avengers 54. So, Carl, right away, I bet this one sold you. Tell the people why.
This cover is a homage to Fantastic Four #1.
I love it.
It's fantastic. I love it too.
Drawn by John Byrne,
great.
who has done his own homage to the Fantastic Four on his Fantastic Four run. He's homaged this cover at least one other time. I love the dialogue. I love where USA is just like, all of you shut up and fight, but they're all talking. I love that the original Human Torch is in Johnny's position.
Yeah, I do
the cover.
too.
I love that Iron Man is in Reed's position and Wonder Man is in Thing's position.
I would go so far as to say this is like one of my favorite covers of anything we've covered.
It's really good.
And who knew it would be Avengers West Coast?
Who knew?
like who knew?
Who knew? I'm reading this license plate. I'm trying to see if it's a reference to anything.
Oh. Because
he likes to hide different things in like the rubble and stuff like that. But it's GNU 55. I'm not.
I wonder if this is like a key issue now. I can almost see it with slab collectors.
I could too.
Yeah, like this is a key issue now.
Slab collectors, there are more key issues than there are regular issues.
Oh God, the slab collectors are trying to tell me that like the first appearance of Nebula is $30, and I'm sorry, but nobody cares about Nebula. Good luck selling that book.
Karen Gillan cares. I love this opening splash of the Mole Man.
Yeah, I did too. Really, it pulled me in because it's like you don't have any context. Yeah,
he's a gross dude.
You don't have any context of like where this is taking place. It's just an up close shot of Mole Man.
Yeah, now attack! Like I love it. It's fabulous. And then you get a 2-page spread right after that, where the monsters are just kind of wreaking havoc.
You got Giganto.
Paul Ryan inked this, so Paul Ryan drew the regular Avengers book, and he's inking John Byrne on this one. So they must have like had an open collaboration going.
I'm not kidding. The art in this one, and the art's good in the Cap book we covered too, but the art in this one and the Avengers book are superb.
Yeah.
Like it's
really,
like
really good.
really good Marvel art.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean,
and it holds up too. We're reading this like 30 years later here, and it's
36 years later.
It holds up really well. It's worth checking out.
And you know what? I rag on him a lot, so I'll just say Wonder Man looks pretty good here.
He does.
This is the least worst costume I've seen on him in a minute. I still don't like it, but least worst. Least worst.
If you can make Wonder Man like look cool, then you're a good artist.
Yeah, I think so. And John Byrne makes him look pretty good. I mean, he's basically like the Big Lots version of Superman, so it makes sense that that John Byrne, one of the quintessential Superman artists, would do a good job. Most of this is a monster fight, but it's super fun.
It's a really good monster fight. You got like Iron Man like throwing gigantic.
With that Marvel vs. Capcom armor.
Yeah, it is. It's like the 90s Iron Man armor. Totally is. I'm waiting for him to shout, Unibeam! Unibeam!
U.S. Agent's here, too, on his little sky bike.
Yeah, you like U.S. Agent. Give us some background on U.S. Agent, because I think this is the first time he's shown up.
Yeah, I think so. Okay, I'm going to try to do this as quickly as I can. If you are familiar with Falcon and the Winter Soldier, you know who U.S. Agent is.
Yeah.
Or at this point, by the time this airs... I don't know if Thunderbolts will be out by the time this airs.
Probably.
But John Walker began his career as the Super Patriot, and he was basically kind of a conservative right-wing answer to Captain America. He was like a government jingoistic, like in the pocket of the Commission of Superhuman Activities organization that we talked about earlier. Mm-hmm. And when the Commission told Steve Rogers that the SHIELD belonged to the U.S. government, Steve Rogers said, well, then I'm out because I don't serve a government. I serve the flag. Like I believe in the American...
the people.
It's that Frank Miller Born Again quote where he's like, I only believe in the dream. I don't believe in governments or leaders. I believe in the promise of America.
The ideals of
right?
America.
So he quits. And then John Walker is recruited to be his replacement. And he becomes Captain America for like over a year.
Yeah.
And is much more violent, is much more what it was Mark Grunwald's critique of 80s superheroes.
Interesting.
Because they were saying that Steve Rogers is old-fashioned, he's too clean-cut, he's too much of a Boy Scout.
So this character is that criticism.
So Grunwald gave them the gritty, like
super cool.
gnarled, like Captain America that they said they wanted. And he was very bad at being Captain America. So he ends up in Captain America 350. They fight. Steve wins. He leaves. While Steve was retired from Captain America, he was the captain, and he wore basically the U.S. agent suit. So when they fought, he was in the captain costume. He was actually a member of the Avengers as the captain. Mm-hmm. So the captain and John Walker, Captain America, fight. The captain wins.
Isn't that a cover?
Yeah,
Isn't there a cover?
I've
seen that cover.
Famous cover. It's really a strong cover.
Yeah.
And actually, it's where like the Red Skull becomes the Red Skull again, where like he returns as the Steve Rogers clone. I'm getting off on a tangent, but basically, this is that era.
I asked. I mean, I think
and when John Walker comes back as a government agent still, he comes as U.S. agent and he wears the captain costume.
Okay. That's when I first saw the character in an issue of Wolverine. There's like a... There's a crossover where like a bunch of the Marvel characters are all after Wolverine, and he's one of the U.S. agents.
Yeah, and one other thing to note, because this is Avengers West Coast, if I'm remembering right, he's actually installed into the team by the Commission. They don't recruit him. He's actually
placed.
They put him on there.
Like,
but he becomes so much a part of it that he's there until the very end of the series. It ends with issue 102. And when Iron Man reboots the team as ForceWorks in the 90s, U.S. Agent's there. So he ends up kind of ingratiating himself with the group. But there is that tension.
So really you get this like continued battle of Iron Man fighting Giganto. There's like some
fun.
Crazy superhero stuff going on here. He like builds a trench with his Unibeam, his repulsors. I'm sorry, not his Unibeam, his repulsors. And then stops a wave and stuff.
It's really cool.
The ground's crumbling. Wonder Man and Human Torch are going underground to like fight the Mole-Man's monsters.
Yeah, this is the Jim Hammond Human Torch, the robot Human Torch from the Golden Age.
Right. right? Which we talked a little bit about that last episode.
Yeah, and Mole Man actually says, like, you don't sound like Johnny Storm. It's just really funny.
Yeah, I almost didn't need that, but that's there. That's there.
Yeah, John Byrne's dialogue has never really hit for me, but that's a different conversation. I love the monsters in this. These Kirby monsters.
They're so cool.
And Byrne does Kirby characters very well. Like, the Kirby monsters are really cool here.
Yeah, there were this shot with the negative space being like outside the panel.
Yeah.
Of like the ship flying towards the monster is great.
Like the jet stream. Yeah.
One of my favorite moments in this, like besides all the monster stuff, because like the monster breaking the jet and like the superheroes falling out of it's fantastic. We almost gotta talk about this part.
Talk about it.
Yeah, the monster breaks open the jet. And then our heroes are being flung out. And speaking of X2, this is very similar to X2. The plane's out of control, and then we find out who saves them from the plane crash. It's Magneto. Protecting his daughter.
It's so sweet.
Because Scarlet Witch was inside the plane.
And so this kind of speaks to what you were saying earlier, where he's kind of not fully into the villain thing at this point. Like, he's still got some altruism to him. He's kind of teetering away from that. And the mysterious stranger's watching it. And he's got some plans. Yeah,
he's aware that Magneto switches sides. The master of magnetism is loyal to no one.
Yes.
So
except for the mutant race.
Cut back to a very like classic looking
what
like
a
Mole Man. Yeah,
I like that Wonder Man constantly loses his shirt. Like, even, like, yeah, he's just constantly getting that shirt ripped up. That happens like every West Coast Avengers book I've ever read. Like, he just gets because his costumes are so bad they tear apart.
Yeah, they're just like, what can we do here?
We gotta show off that bod.
I like page 15 had some like background on the monsters. Like, there was almost like a lore dump with the monsters.
Yeah, a
like,
little bit.
The monster was called Giganto. The three-headed orange monster is called Tricephalus. Which
sounds it's like you should see a doctor.
Yeah, he's got Tricephalus and Giganto. Okay, so anyway, I thought that was cool. Like, sure. Give us names for these classic monsters. We get a little bit of U.S. Agent soaring around.
Yeah, and his little sky bike ends up falling into the water, and Iron Man has to save him.
Iron Man throws him back in the water at the end of the the end of the issue.
Wouldn't you?
Yeah, he's just like, I gotta go. He says it right here. He's like, I gotta go investigate this hole. You can swim back to shore easily from here, Agent. The surf is in your favor. And he drops him, and he's like, hey!
And that's what I mean. Like, there's some adversarial relationship between U.S. Agent and the rest of the team.
Yeah, they don't like him.
No, he's a plant. He's a narc. He's really there to be a narc. The panel of Wonder Man on page 18, I don't remember if it was this specific panel or if George Perez recreates this shot in their Avengers run, but I've seen this panel before. It's a pretty good action shot of Simon Williams being kind of like the heavy hitter.
And it's good, and the costume doesn't look terrible.
Because it's mostly gone. But then he gets jobbed by Mole Man very quickly.
We get a little bit.
And we get some zaps and we get some hits. And
so they're basically like, Mole Man, you don't have any evidence that the Avengers were the ones that attacked your home or whatever. And he's just like, oh, I guess you're right. I guess I didn't think about it.
Crazy.
Not being, I guess you're right. I guess I never thought it couldn't not be the Avengers. You have a good point, Wonder Man. And then the issue ends.
This happens in superhero comics all the time, and it drives me crazy. Problems that could be solved with a simple conversation are just the most frustrating.
They always have to battle it out first.
Oh yeah,
before the conversation.
You have to. It's every superhero everything.
That killed me too when I read it. I was like, wow, these motivations for fighting are extremely flimsy.
Yeah, that's okay. It's popcorn. That scene of U.S. Agent falling in the water is very funny.
I love that part.
But yeah, they all kind of convene back at the compound and they talk about what happened.
Big Scooby-Doo moment.
Yeah, they're Skyping with each other. They're FaceTiming with Avengers East Coast, and then they're all kind of like coming to the realization that we're being messed with. Someone's behind all of this stuff happening.
Someone is out to destroy the Avengers.
And the Mole Man is the one that kind of tipped them off, where they're like, there's no reason like that he would think it was us unless someone tried to frame us for it. So someone's messing with them.
You only have to read 6 Axe of Vengeance comics to find out.
Look at that list. Now, I read a couple of these. Like, we read Captain America 66.
I've never read Quasar.
I read the Avengers Spotlight issue. Never. We're going to read Avengers 3:13. We're going to read...
I bet I've read that Fantastic Four comic.
Probably.
I bet I have that Fantastic Four comic.
And we're not reading Iron Man. But it concludes in Avengers West Coast. It's branded as the conclusion. And, like, I don't know, man. I don't know if you need to read all those. Well,
I don't know if you do.
But to our... Like, that's what we're trying to... test that theory, right? We're not reading it all. We're going to see if we can digest it all. All right, Carl. We
jump to the Mighty Thor.
Have to talk about the Mighty Thor. We already talked that we said that this was the marketing worked. Sold us on this fight. The fight, Juggernaut and Thor, is a very compelling pairing. And so the whole premise of Acts of Vengeance is here.
I always love seeing Thor fight a powerful adversary. Like I just read a story. I think it was Tales of Suspense 109 has like Magneto fighting Thor.
Oh yeah, we were talking about that.
It's just like a whole issue, and this is very similar. It's just Thor fighting an X-Men villain, but it's illustrated very well.
Sure, it's Jack Kirby, right?
Yeah, that original story. Yeah, right. Magneto versus Thor is Jack.
So we're going to talk about Thor 411 and 412, and the first portion of this episode, like an hour ago, I mentioned that Ulick was in the first Thor comic I ever read.
Yeah,
and I said I think it was the Tom DeFalco Ron Friends run, and we looked during the break, and it was 414 was my first, and it was funny because you said your Thor, that one of the Thor comics you read as a kid was 413.
Yeah, with Doctor Strange.
Which we're going to cover next week. So it's so funny that we were kind of just randomly picking up these random issues of Thor right around the same issue number.
I think it's funny because it shows like we're both our age, you know.
But you know what's so...
It's just the audience, me and Kyle are like the same age.
But Carl is saying that this was published in 1989, so we found those issues in the back issue bin. We had to have.
Probably in 1996.
Probably like 1996. No lie. No, I think my grandmother bought me that comic from a 50-cent bin.
My grandma would take me to the comic store, and it was like she tried to do something special with each grandchild, and that was my request.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, she'd be like,
hell yeah.
I'd be like, hey, Grandma, take me to the comic store, and she bought me like one issue of X-Men. It was great, though. I loved it.
Oh, yeah, no. And look, it worked. Built a long-lasting memory.
All these years
She did
later.
it.
Yeah.
All right, so Nothing Can Stop the Juggernaut, written on the side of Mjolnir. I don't know how you want to cover this. We can talk about the plot.
Okay, what about Hercules singing, "She drives me crazy and I can't help myself"? Right at the beginning.
I bet it sounded just like that.
Yeah. Isn't that fun, though? He's just sitting on the couch hanging out with Thor.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. So this is Tom DeFalco and Ron Friends with Joe Sinnott on inks. No wonder it looks great.
Yeah, that's beautifully illustrated.
And at this point, Eric Masterson is Thor. He will become Thunderstrike later.
Thunderstrike.
And who's the most 90s Thor character you could make.
The most powerful 90s.
I mean, there's an issue... I'm sorry, I'm going to do this again. There's an issue of Avengers, the Terminatrix something or other. It's like a miniseries that's an offshoot of a Kang event. And it has U.S. Agent, War Machine, and Thunderstrike on the cover. As a kid, I loved it because it was like, oh, it's all like the second string trio. Like the big three second string.
Big three extreme.
So this is the Eric Masterson version of Thor. So Don Blake is gone. It's now Eric and he's roommates with Hercules, who's going by the name Harry Cleese, which is
good name.
Great.
Good name.
Really,
Hercules.
really outside the box thinking.
Good choice. That's not inconspicuous.
No, not at all. And like he does nothing. He talks the same way he usually talks. He's got a pink wife beater. He's got
some headphones,
some tall socks, and
he's got his Walkman. Watch out,
some loafers.
Hercules got a Walkman and a pink
fashion icon. And I guess the plot is very simple. The mysterious stranger wants to bring Thor out into the open because he's one of the characters who's not been involved in the
Acts
plot
of Vengeance.
Right. And so he manipulates events to get Juggernaut out into the open. He transports him to Queens. And the rest of the issue is just Eric turns into Thor and he goes and fights him.
Straight up fight, Juggernaut versus
And so
Thor.
we're going to talk about two issues that's pretty much just a fight scene. but we're gonna go through it because it's one of the best Thor fights I've read.
Me and Kyle, over the course of this podcast, obviously have read a ton of Marvel comics this year.
A lot.
We have been milking our Marvel Unlimited subscriptions dry.
Paid for itself over and over again.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the awesome, perks of doing this. But I was texting Kyle. I was just like, I feel like I haven't seen a Marvel fight this good since Fantastic 425 when Jack Kirby drew the Hulk versus the Thing. Like, this is on par with that.
To the point where I almost have to imagine Ron Frenz had to have laid it all out. Like, I feel like, I don't know if you could script this. It's so visual.
It's so good. It kicks off with, like Thor gets kicked through the air at the beginning of the fight. And
look at that extreme angle. Like, that 1 point perspective flying over the crowd's head.
Most artists would stop at Thor got hit and is flying through the air, but Ron Frenz shows Thor fly through the air. He breaks through a storefront, lands on his feet, and then they start throwing cars at each other.
Big picture of this whole fight. My favorite part about this fight is the collateral damage.
It's crazy.
It is like two gods fighting.
Yeah,
literally, it's incredibly. Worthy of Kirby, honestly. Ron Frenz is a worthy inheritor of the Thor title because Thor is such a Kirby book. You need to have someone with that Kirby energy, and Frenz has it.
This shot of Frenz Juggernaut throwing this bus of people.
Bus. Oh my god!
And you can see all the people in the bus, and Thor's just like, "Oh, it's blood."
Oh, I know. I love the Joe Sinnott inks. It's so crisp. It's so sleek and clean.
It's great.
It's so uncomplicated. It's just classic.
6-panel grids.
And that might be why it feels really like a Kirby book, because it's Joe Sinnott inking a Kirby layout by Ron Frenz. It's very, very good.
Yeah.
But Thor saves the bus. And Thor's kind of one other plot thing I guess we can talk about is that Eric Masterson recently returned to Earth from some adventure and has been having seizures where he's having nausea and feeling weak. So that's kind of going on in the background. So not only is he's fighting one of the most powerful villains in Marvel, he's also not on his A game.
No,
but Carl, I turn the page and I see this kid wearing a sweater and a button down. I'm like, who's this kid? And they say it's Richard Rider. I'm like, I perk up in my seat. I'm like, Richard Rider, that's Nova. 1990 Nova, what was he doing? I know what Nova was doing in 1990, and it cuts to Vance Astrovic. I'm like, I know who Vance Astrovic is. I know who Angelica Jones is. I know who Robbie Baldwin and Anita Prentice are.
Who is this, Kyle?
This is the new freaking Warriors.
New Warriors showing up for the first time.
I had no idea that the first meeting of the New Warriors was in Acts of Vengeance in a Thor comic.
I know.
So,
wow.
New Warriors, I'm familiar with because of Kurt Busiek and George Perez. They had Justice and Firestar.
They had their own book.
Oh, yeah. They did. And I read that Fabian Nicieza, Mark Bagley, I think was the artist.
Yeah.
I read that issue number 1. I feel like that was a very popular number 1 issue.
It was.
Probably came out right after this. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Justice and Firestar were the new recruits of the Busiek Perez run. So they were kind of
Firestar,
they were kind of like the audience surrogates, right? And I've always loved Firestar.
Yeah.
One of the rare animation to comics success stories.
Yeah, like Harley Quinn or something.
Harley
showed
Quinn.
up in the animation first,
X-23.
and then became a comic book. Yep.
Firestar is one of the first characters like that. But nevertheless, so the New Warriors show up in that book all the time. So I've always kind of had a soft spot. They're goofy.
Yeah, they are goofy, but they're fun.
They're very 90s, and I love that, though.
So we cut back to Thor versus Juggernaut, and
we're in
the train yard now.
Oh my god!
This is why I like this fight so much. We go from a city environment to they're out at a train station throwing carts at each other. It's like a panel out of Superman, right? Except Juggernaut's crushing them with.
Great call. This does feel like a Superman fight. Of course it does, because it's
it's crazy.
It's almost like I don't know, like a Hulk Superman fight.
I think next time I try to draw a fight scene, I'm gonna look at this comic.
I feel like you should.
I'm not kidding.
I feel like you should.
Yeah, has so much good.
One of my favorite. Okay, we got to talk about this scene though, because you talked about this when we were off the air.
Oh, this moment's great.
Thor is trying everything he can to take him down. And he throws Mjolnir in this great extreme foreshortening panel of Mjolnir flying towards the camera.
It's really clean.
And Juggernaut expands his force field to slow it down. And when it turns around to go back to Thor, he hitches a ride and glides on the back of Mjolnir to cram into Thor. And it's so... But more than just the hit against Thor, it's my favorite sequence in this whole fight. It's Thor gets hit, you see him travel through 5 rail cars.
Yes.
Into a building, and then the smoke just plumes from the building. It's like Justice League Unlimited level
It's
destruction from that Darkseid Superman fight. I mean, it's incredibly effective. And then Thor's on the ropes. He's passed out. Juggernaut's about to do a death blow with the...
It almost could be animated.
It could be.
The sequence with Mjolnir and stuff.
This whole sequence.
It's a great example of secondary action.
Yeah.
You have like moments after you have your big moment, you have something that reveals something about the character,
And what a great lead-in to this hero shot of the new warriors being the cavalry.
And it's a homage to Juggernaut's first appearance. The way Juggernaut's drawn in the panel, where his arms up like that.
Way.
Yeah, it's totally...
I almost want to go back to that cover and see if the new warriors are composed in a similar pose, because that's incredible.
Yeah,
but like you have the title character passed out from an unbelievable fight, and then these kids show up, and looking at them... Like, Namorita's Namor's cousin, so you're like, okay, maybe she could handle him. Kid Nova's like a cosmic character, like, maybe he could handle him, but, like, Speedball and Night Thrasher and Marvel Boy and Firestar against the Juggernaut, who just took out Thor, who's in the mid-ground, and they look very small on the page, and he's just looming. Very effective.
Yeah, cool way to introduce the new warriors, too, like, fighting Juggernaut. Pretty cool.
Did you read the Beta Ray Bill backup?
I did.
You did?
I did. I like Beta Ray Bill.
I do like Beta Ray Bill. Tell me about,
curious.
I skimmed it because I wanted to get to the next part of the fight in the New Warriors, but tell the people about this backup.
It's kind of in outer space. I didn't get a lot from it.
Drawn by Ron Lim.
Understand it more. I mean, it's basically like Guardians of the Galaxy with Beta Ray Bill. He's like in the spaceship and stuff. He gets captured.
Yeah, he's captured, and there's like a psychic...
He's got a Stormbreaker with him.
Yeah, of course he has. I love that design.
I couldn't tell you much about it.
We're going to read the first appearance of Beta Ray Bill next season.
Oh, is that coming? Okay.
Spoiler alert.
That's cool. Spoilers.
All right, the cover to 412 has the New Warriors bursting into the page, and you have kind of Juggernaut and Thor facing off. Cool cover. I mean, it's fine.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this fight. I love this opening splash of Juggernaut's face. Ron Frenz is credited with plot.
Screen tone on Juggernaut's face, too.
Tom DeFalco and Ron Frenz, words, pictures, and plot. So I do think Frenz did the layouts. I think he did the breakdowns.
And then Joe Sinnott stuff.
So I don't know that Tom DeFalco did script this fight frame by frame. If I'm wrong, correct me. But reading this, it feels very visual.
Yeah.
So that big full page close up, cut to a 2-page spread with the New Warriors, and this goes from a Thor Juggernaut fight issue to a New Warriors Juggernaut fight issue. What did you think?
I thought this was a lot of fun. It was a great way to show all of the characters' power sets.
Yes.
Because no one can really hurt the Juggernaut, but we get to see all their powers at play.
Yeah.
And, like, everyone is introduced in a fun and satisfying way. I don't think this is exactly like Juggernaut's first appearance. I think about it a little bit more. Juggernaut's arms are down a little bit. But it reminds me of one of the other covers. He definitely looked at some early Juggernaut art.
Sure.
I thought it was cool. I like Juggernaut's insults to the characters.
Yeah.
Because his dialogues, he's got a very notable character voice.
He does. Just thinking about that composition again, what you're sussing out with the first appearance of Juggernaut, I'll tell you what it does remind me of. it reminds me of the covers of X-Men #1 and Avengers #1,
Yes.
where you have the villains back to the reader with the heroes approaching them from the front, and they look a little small compared to the villain. I think it's a good kind of homage, kind of lip service to that tradition of a Marvel super team being introduced.
Have that character in the foreground.
Right. For the sake of time, how beat by beat do you want to go here? Is there anything that stood out to you in this fight?
I really think it was a fun way to introduce new warriors. One of the standout panels for me was Starfire using her power on Juggernaut, and his costume goes like completely white for a moment. Yeah. I thought that was a really cool use of color.
I love Firestar.
That was a very unique panel to me. I'm just kind of flipping through it real quick here. The panel where Thor shows up and there's no dialogue is really good.
Really powerful.
And then we have to talk about how Thor defeats Juggernaut.
Talk about it.
So Thor harnesses some like Asgardian energy.
Yep. What do you call it? The God Force.
Yeah,
which is a Tom DeFalco thing. I think that came from Tom DeFalco.
Okay. Because this is my first time seeing it.
I could be wrong. I think it played into the Celestial saga that Tom DeFalco did.
He mentions the Celestial as he does it.
Yeah.
And then so he uses this God Force. It's almost like Dragon Ball Z. they stand off. They're across from each other. He goes Kamehameha with his hammer, and it fires a beam. It hits Juggernaut.
Look at that sound effect.
The ground breaks beneath them. Juggernaut falls through the ground, and then some of the new warriors and Firestar. I'm sorry, same thing.
The Teen Titans are not in this issue.
She starts using her flame powers to like seal the ground, and we find out the Juggernaut got transported to another dimension.
Yeah, this is a great solution to this problem. So he doesn't try to defeat Juggernaut. He tries to defeat the environment around him. And then the new warriors throw a bunch of steel on top of him, and Firestar melts it to seal him into this metal case to buy them some time. Mm-hmm. And at this point, Mjolnir has time and space powers. I don't think it lasts for very long, but he's able to basically transport this steel prison into another dimension. And so when Juggernaut does break out, he's stranded. He's marooned. And the mysterious stranger is watching all of this, and he's just pissed.
Yeah.
He calls him an incompetent buffoon, and he wants...
I'm the Juggernaut, bitch.
Oh, good.
But I don't recognize this place. Where am I?
How old do you think you have to be to not get that reference? Like, do you think we've lost that?
The 20-year-olds don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I wonder if like 25-year-olds don't know.
If they're nerdy and they've seen the X-Men trilogy, then they know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
if they haven't...
they didn't laugh at that line of dialogue like we did.
May God be with them.
I do like gods. I do like how when the mysterious stranger is monologuing. This is the second time he's done this in this storyline because he doesn't in the last issue.
But Kyle, he name drops the title.
He does. That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, he's like my axe of vengeance.
It's so bad.
I love that. I love
it's
that.
Very
that
funny.
Was funny.
And you know what? This is written by Tom DeFalco, who is the editor-in-chief as well. So you know it was just him trying to really lean into it.
He had to do that. And I like this little like passing of the torch moment with Thor.
Nice.
Where he's putting his hand on the new warrior's shoulders and he's just like, you know what? You guys are all right.
You guys are going to go somewhere.
Yeah, you guys are cool. Keep wearing those costumes and keep running around New York. I'll see you next time. And Thor, he flies away. Honor and nobility. Methinks the world shall soon marvel at the stirring exploits of the new warriors.
I'm going to marvel. Marvel. That's the name of the company, Carl.
God, I didn't make that connection.
I want to read this to you.
It's crazy.
Next, the Thunder God learns the startling cause behind his crippling seizures, and he discovers the true identity of the sinister mastermind behind the Axe of Vengeance.
All right.
All this plus a special guest appearance by the mysterious Sorcerer Supreme Dr. Strange. Within me dwells a monster. So, Carl, your question will be answered in issue 413, which you read as a kid. So if you just hang on, if you just dive deep in your subconscious.
I'm over here just doing the signs of cross that the economy allows me to renew my Marvel Unlimited subscription. I'm just like sitting here.
You'll make it.
Like, please, baby, please. I need to ride this Marvel wave a little bit more.
You'll make it. You'll make it. We can just read it today. It's fine. Not for the show. We're going on.
All right, Kyle, we gotta keep going.
Okay, did you read the Beta Ray Bill backup? Anything you want to say?
Nah, not really.
It looked good.
Not really. It's good.
Ron Lim. All right. So feel better about Acts of Vengeance compared to last week.
Yeah, I do. It's actually A plus in all these comics we read. I would recommend these comics to X-Men fans. I would be like, hey, go read Avengers. What is it? 312.
You got Freedom Force and Juggernaut with this batch. You're right.
And Thor.
Magneto's playing a major role.
Yeah, X-Men fans should check this out.
Comic fans need to read these Thor issues. If you're a cartoonist, if you draw action, if you're a cartoonist who does action, read 411 and 412 of the Mighty Thor just to see this fight, because it is genuinely one of the best, honestly one of the best fights in the whole Acts of Vengeance event. One of the best Thor fights I've read. A really fun Juggernaut fight.
Yeah, I have nothing but high praise for it.
Really good way of showing how setting plays a role in choreography for fights, and it's very, very good.
Well said.
Carl, plug your stuff.
www.carllucasdraws.com. I have my graphic novel Shogun Bear in the House of Horrors. I have mini comics. I have stickers. Kyle, what do you got?
Only 3 books compared to all that stuff you just said, but I think they're good books. So you got Cornelius Armstrong, Adventures in Antics. You have Thunderduck, a mini, and you have Mad Science Rejects, a mini also. And also, at the time of recording, their sequels are all pending. 1 or 2 of those sequels might be available by the time you read this. You can also go to our respective websites to commission me or Carl for private illustrations for your collection. You can follow us as Issues with Cartoons on Bluesky, TikTok, Instagram, and Threads.
Yeah,
you can also,
I'm on Threads. I'm advocating.
You're on
for
Threads.
Us. I'm advocating.
Do we have
for
an
us.
account on Threads, or
we don't have an account on Threads?
Follow Carl on Threads.
Yeah, Carl Lucas are.
And then you can also email us, contact at IssuesWithCartoons.com. Follow us on Spotify and YouTube. Tell your friends, rate, review, like, subscribe, comment. And until next time, more issues to come.
Stay tuned.